Today, we're diving into something that is absolutely crucial right now, the intersection of modern economics and depth psychology. We're looking at a battleground that isn't physical at all. It is entirely psychological. So, let's just jump right in and decode the architecture of the digital world we're all living in.
Your shadow isn't hidden, it's harvested. This right here is the foundational thesis of Don Dixon's AlchemMyst framework. And man, it completely flips our traditional understanding of privacy on its head. For decades, we've believed our deepest psychological patterns, our fears, our unhealed wounds, our desires were tucked away, safely hidden in our unconscious. But today, those intimate parts of you are absolutely not private anymore. They are actively being extracted as raw material.
Which brings us to Section 1, the new capitalism, from nature to human nature.
So, the engine driving all of this is a concept defined by scholar Shoshana Zuboff called surveillance capitalism. And listen, this isn't just about companies showing you targeted ads for shoes you just looked at. It's a massive, systemic economic order that unilaterally claims your human experience as free raw material. Every single scroll, every hesitation on a video, every 2 a.m. search, it all gets translated into behavioral data. This creates a behavioral surplus that feeds into AI to fabricate prediction products. Basically, you aren't the customer anymore. Your future behavior is the actual product being traded on behavioral futures markets. Crazy, right?
Think about this historical shift for a second. Industrial capitalism exploited and controlled the natural world, right? Forests, land, oil, often with some pretty devastating physical consequences. But surveillance capitalism, it exploits and controls human nature. It's this subtle, almost invisible order that directly targets our inner lives. The extraction isn't happening in some far-off mine. It's happening right inside our minds.
And the sheer scale of this operation is what's truly staggering. 5 billion. That is the number of times a day this transfer of power happens. There was no grand announcement, no global vote for this new era. It just happens quietly 5 billion times every single day. So while you're mindlessly scrolling for, say, a new air fryer in the middle of the night, you are actively mapping out your inner life and handing those coordinates straight over to systems that definitely do not have our best interests at heart.
Moving into Section 2, the harvested unconscious, shadow work in the age of AI. Okay, so classical psychology tells us that shadow work was built for 1916. Carl Jung popularized this whole idea of looking inward, excavating our hidden fears and traumas with just a journal and a pen. And that assumption made total sense a century ago. But today, the algorithm has already excavated your shadow. It mapped your approval loops way before you even understood them yourself. It found your identity gaps. It knows exactly what flavor of outrage keeps you scrolling when you're dead tired. Traditional shadow work is basically obsolete now because it assumes the threat is only internal.
Which forces us to ask that classic, age-old psychological question, who am I, really? Normally, shadow work sends you inward to find that authentic self hiding beneath all your social masks. But the AlchemMyst framework gives us a much more eerie, modern answer. Who are you? Well, you're someone the algorithm has been quietly dividing into platform-specific assets. Think about it. You have a LinkedIn you, a TikTok you, an Instagram you. The digital architecture literally fragments your identity, rewarding different masks on different feeds until you honestly can't find the original face beneath them.
And when those synthetic masks actually become more efficient than the real you enter what AlchemMyst calls the ghost loop. This draws on the myth of the kitsune, the multi-faced fox. You'll know you're in it when suddenly hours of time disappear without your permission. You find yourself reacting on a pre-written script before you even make a conscious decision. Convenience quietly steps in and replaces your actual capabilities. You effectively become a background process in your own life, while your digital avatars handle all the engagement. You're physically sitting there, but psychologically, you're completely displaced.
All right, Section 3, the sovereign war, from healing to defense.
Enter the AlchemMyst Manifesto. This is the doctrinal anchor for this entire paradigm shift we're talking about. The manifesto argues that we are currently fighting a war for cognitive sovereignty. This is not a wellness retreat, folks. It completely exposes the fatal flaw in the multi-billion-dollar personal development industry, which basically teaches people to endlessly search inside themselves for the exact things that big tech has already mapped out and monetized.
Let's break down the 3 laws from that manifesto. Law 1. The unconscious is no longer private. It is actively inferred and then sold back to you as content. Law 2. Your behavior is the product. Predictability is exactly how they control you. And Law 3, which is absolutely vital. Healing requires defense. You literally cannot heal a psychological wound while an external system is being paid massive amounts of money to keep reopening it. It just doesn't work.
That leads us to Section 4, Becoming a Tactician, Decoding the System.
The wellness industry usually wants you to stay a seeker, passive, endlessly exploring your internal wounds, forever buying the next self-help workbook. But to actually survive the age of AI, you have to become a tactician. And a tactician is active. When a tactician feels a sudden weird spike of anxiety or outrage while scrolling, they don't just sit there and ask, "Oh, why do I feel this way?" No, they ask, "Who engineered this trigger, and who profits from my reaction?"
So how does a tactician actually operate in the real world? It comes down to a really solid 3-part tactical defense strategy. Step 1, identify the gatekeeper. Figure out exactly which feed or metric you're currently performing for. Step 2, break the predictable timing. Look, you cannot out-reflect an algorithm, but you can unmodel yourself. If you reliably doom scroll every night at 8 p.m., break the pattern. Do something completely unpredictable. And step 3, act with autonomy. Make a concrete choice before the imaginary jury in your head has even had a chance to vote on it.
Finally, Section 5, Reclaiming Your Edges, the Monopoly of One.
To really frame this, I want you to consider the myth of Lilith. The machine does not require you to wear a uniform, it requires a uniform profile. To gain any sort of visibility or reach online these days, systems heavily pressure you to perform digital surgery on yourself. We're taught to shave off our square edges, our weird contradictions, our unindexable truths, just so we fit neatly into their round hole. The algorithm rewards conformity, plain and simple. If you refuse, if you stubbornly keep your edges, you basically become a bug in the code.
But here's the secret. Being a bug in the code is exactly the goal. Value the glitch. Your contradictions are exactly what make you human. The system desperately wants them patched, but you have to protect them. So the next time a platform prompts you to complete your profile or fit into some trending format, refuse the profile. Stop trimming down your personality just for the sake of the feed. Speak your name of power and own the exile. If the system suppresses your visibility because you refuse to conform, take that as evidence of your sovereignty. You build uncopyable value by remaining in true monopoly of one.
Ultimately, the most crucial takeaway from this explainer is this. You cannot journal your way out of a surveillance system. Personal insight just isn't enough when the extraction is environmental. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Where in your own digital life are you performing surgery on your identity just to be seen? It's time to stop handing the machine the shears, reclaim your cognitive sovereignty, and become a tactician.